All right. Hello, guys. I wanted to talk about Monster Hunter a little bit and about other things that are, to me, in this situation related to it. And this all started because I am planning a trip to Brazil where I'm going to be many hours, more than 24 hours, I think, stuck in airports and airplanes and everything, especially the airplane situation means you have no internet and everything like that. So I was taking a look at my handhelds at and kind of preparing what I could do as far as what I could take. And I was curious because the I've never played this game, Monster Hunter Generations, as it's called in the West, and I played a little bit of 4. So I just booted this game up. Not the footage you're seeing, the footage you're seeing I made for this video, but I booted it up and I played one mission. And oh boy, was that problematic. Um, Many things, right? The first one is how tiny and aliased the image is. The text is I can read the text, but it's very unsharp. It's not that even scaling for the pixels. That's what I'm showing right there in the video. um, it's not sharp, it's not good. Now of course on YouTube there's going to be all kinds of different upscaling and um, encoding and everything and compression. So you never know this very well when we're talking about YouTube, but it's not nice. The ergonomics are not nice. And more than that, when I started playing the game, which is gonna come up soon, well, that that is very harsh today, for me at least. Playing these games, these older games, with the lack of quality of life elements that they have, becomes very painful. You can go back to getting used to that if you really want, but it's it's not nice. I don't think so. That's another thing that just came up to me now. It's the fact also that I'm playing Monster Hunter Rise. So if I'm playing this game on a trip, the controls are different, the logic is different. It's a brand new game save file, everything. I'm gonna get used to this one, and then I'm gonna come back. Am I gonna keep playing this, or I'm gonna go back to playing Rise, right? So there's all these things, this back and forth kind of sucks, which really made me think about how great really the Nintendo Switch is in that sense. Because I'm not sure, maybe I'm just, you know, just wrong about that in that sense, because I'm not that knowledgeable about everything. But it seems to me like that's the first time we have a handheld that really you really can play it in handheld and have a good console experience in handheld mode. Because even the Vita, I have a Vita, it's right in front of me. It's gonna even appear in this video, but it's it's a good screen, it's good controls, but for it to be okay to play, I still need a grip. And maybe the Switch, you could say the same about it. I had a Nintendo Switch OLED in my hands just a little while ago. As I was taking a look again because of this trip, I was taking a look at handhelds and stuff, and I went to the store and I picked up the different Nintendo Switches that they have. I like the OLED the best. I think it would be worth the money extra over the other ones. The light would be fine, except that actually I didn't like the buttons on that. They're for tiny buttons. I want them to be clicky. It's just this proportion thing. If you have a lot of travel on a button that's small, to me, it feels weird. The amount of travel should be coherent with the size of the button itself. To me, when I'm playing, I just have a feeling thing. Maybe I probably get used to it. I don't know. And I even like clicky buttons overall anyway. So here we are grabbing our stuff. I bought some stuff and I have a mission of gathering a specific type of ore, a metal from the game. And this is the kind of stuff where it really struck me while playing games on the while playing this game specifically, because the other mission was also a mission to collect stuff. And it's just that on Monster Hunter Rise, when you're collecting a plant, you run through the plant and you press the button once, and that collects the plant. You just do that. You run through, you click the button, and it collects the plant. Now in this game, the plant gets collected every item you collect from the collecting spot. Everyone is an individual collect. So you're there pressing the button, holding the button down. I forgot to hold the button down. You hold the button down, you'll get one, you'll get the next, you'll get the next. We would be on our way by this, right? By now, we would be way further going into this day. And that kind of stuff. At the end of a mission on Monster Hunter Rise, you just click on a button that says grab everything and put it into your item chest. And that's it. You're done. That's all there was to it. And here am I because I had uh, too many herbs. I don't have space for herbs anymore. So now I have to combine them to make potions because that's what you do with herb. But I don't have the other item to and so I'm stuck with that. And this all, after I played this and I saw like, well, yeah, I mean, the quality of life difference, just that alone is enough that I don't want to play this game. The combat is good. Don't get me wrong. The combat in this game is just as good as the other games in the series, and it's very good. Even the very first Monster Hunter, it had good combat. At least I like it. I mean, that's of course that's a preference thing, but it's competent combat, no doubt about it. It's well done. Um, the major problem is the quality of life. And then I started watching some videos about Monster Hunter because it was on my mind. And I saw this long essay about a guy talking about something that really resonated with me because I have the same opinion as he has. And it's the fact that the first Monster Hunter, but he was talking about the second Monster Hunter game, Monster Hunter 2 DOS or DOS. I'm not sure how it's supposed to be pronounced. Because this is what you're seeing on screen, the way you collect items. It's a it's something reminiscent of that remained over from that game. Because when you're collecting stuff, you're out in the open, and there are creatures out there who are gonna attack you, and so it's important that the gathering of items takes some time, so uh, that mechanic goes into place, that you're trying to gather stuff, but these enemies that are on the map, these monsters or these little creatures, they're bothering you. So it can't be immediate. But the thing is, with more recent Monster Hunter games, generally speaking, these creatures are often less aggressive, especially on World and most especially on Rise. They're much less aggressive. And but I think even in other games, this guy was saying, because I didn't play too many of these games, he was saying that it's true for almost all the games in the series uh, after the second generation, that the little mobs that are on the map, they become less. So there's this slowness of gathering and even carving the enemy. Like he died, and now you have to carve the thing out of his body, and The other one is there bothering you and attacking. And they aren't being very effective, as you can see, right? On the original Monster Hunter game, yeah, they are. They are like these enemies are attacking you and dealing damage, and they gang up on you. There are three of them in the map, plus other enemies that are also annoying, and they're all on top of you. It really sucks. And that's the thing about the game, though. It is not the first Monster Hunter game is not nearly as much as in these other Monster Hunters that came later. It's not a boss fight, big monster fighting game thing. It is a hunting simulator game, as you could maybe infer from the name. But you know, Monster Hunter Rise is not a hunting simulator game, right? The experience of hunting is not getting on a really fast dog thing and running straight to the thing that you're hunting and fighting it for 20 minutes. It's the experience of hunting is usually finding your prey and you know following it around and getting a good shot at it, right? And of course, in the case of Monster Hunter, there was always a combat, much more than a real hunt was. But all these other elements of gathering and knowing where you are and having to find the monster that is going to run away from you multiple times, and you have to find the monster again. That's why there are these paintballs that leave a smell on the enemy so that you can find them again. You have to throw the paintballs at us. It's all uh, it's all completely different, and it's a much slower, more deliberate experience what you have on the older games, but especially not because of the mechanics in place necessarily, but because of the level design, especially the very older uh, PlayStation 2 titles. Those games really have you often on a map for, I mean, especially in the beginning of the game, again, because you're just learning the game. The game will have you on the map for 25 minutes, 30 minutes sometimes, just um, just collecting things, just trying to find a specific item that you don't know where it is. And then later on, it will have you fight these monsters that can be really hard to find. Like you'll spend half the time looking for the monster and half of the time fighting it. So uh, also the amount of preparation that's needed and everything, like you have to grind just to get potions uh, and uh, well done steak, which is the just like your rations that replenish your stamina and everything. So there is this entire aspect of collecting and grinding and everything that is still present in the new games, but it really works completely different. Monster Hunter nowadays it works kind of like, well, you go into the mission with full potions, full rations, and even like special potions that give you more hit points and more attack and whatever. And the old Monster Hunter games are like, well, you go into the mission and you might want to kill a couple enemies to grab some, to cook some steak to have it then available. And you want to find ore here, and you're going to go over there and grab some all kinds of. You'll be collecting as you're playing the game, especially in the beginning again, because you don't just get these items, and that's the thing. It's a double-edged sword, where in one way, of course, it immensely adds to the immersion in the game, that you were learning these maps and going around and crafting things and doing all these things. But at the same time, it gets to a point where you've done it all over and over and over again, and you're just tired of having to keep doing it. So you just don't want to do it this stuff anymore. So that really that really is the case, that it's probably a logical, important, and correct way that the series like evolved with time. You kind of have to focus on the combat, and if someone wants to have that immersive experience of playing a game that is about making potions and slowly improving your equipment and slowly learning, they can play the first Monster Hunter. Maybe they should make one that's like Monster Hunter remake or Monster Hunter 2 DOS remake. That just, I would play that for sure, like 200% for sure. Just with the actual life of quality of life improvements of just making the menu navigation better and having, you know, maybe, yeah, menu navigation kind of stuff, and maybe some other minor things, and probably the controls the controls are insane in the first Monster Hunter game, but they're very interesting. I think that's definitely one of the things that is worth experiencing from that game. It's the same, but it's interesting. And yeah, and as time went on, again, the game focused more and more and more on the hunting aspect, becoming just a hunting game. So if you want a Monster Hunter game that's more of a hunting simulator and not just a killing one monster after the other really fast game, I actually recommend playing just the original Monster Hunter. And again, there is the Monster Hunter DOS, but that's a Japanese exclusive game that has a wonky translation patch thing. I don't think it's worth it. Monster Hunter, the original game, is garbage to play nowadays. You don't have the online and everything. It's completely incomplete and stupid. But the truth is, if you're a casual gamer just trying to experience this thing that I'm talking about, I mean, not, you can't be a casual gamer. Just don't play Monster Hunter if you're a casual gamer. You're just gonna get your ass handed to you, and it's gonna be just frustration and because it's frustrating even for hardcore gamers, right? Even for people who invest tons of hours and learn these games. Um, but you can play the start of the game, like the first 20 hours or something. You'll do all these missions and all these things, and you'll learn all these things. You'll see all these mechanics. You do all this stuff. It's fine. It's a perfectly valid gaming experience, in my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong, but I enjoyed the time that I spent with the original Monster Hunter playing it. I think I played it, like I bought the disc. I'm pretty sure I have the disc, and I bought it and played it on the PlayStation, straight up on the PlayStation 2, of course. Very interesting. And the other side, because that's it, right? I mean, it's just very interesting. I'm gonna try to link in the description below this video that I found of this guy um, talking for hours about Monster Hunter. But the gist of it is just the fact that it really changed the game around, and as time goes on, it gets even more streamlined and even further away, because Freedom Unite still has a lot of these survival elements and things like that, but it's just that it changes around in a way that's easier for you to just repeat missions over and over again to grind for specific things, which again, after a while, like, you're like, why do I have to grind for my freaking potions? Just give me the potions. I don't I don't want to have to freaking grind for them every single time. You kind of cheat your way around. Instead of you going into the mission and finding stuff for yourself, you just go into another mission that's easy and you grab all the stuff that you need, and then you go into the hard mission, right? With everything. If you're gonna do that, then it's pointless to have all this collecting and gathering. So that's the reason why, again, it is an improvement in many ways that they just took that aspect completely out of these games. So, but the other thing really that struck me as I was doing this experiment with the Nintendo 3DS, it really is that, oh boy, I can't play this thing anymore. I mean, I can, and especially depending on the game, because this is something that I always thought about handhelds. And as I said, I think the Nintendo Switch did finally breached that gap, and now you have things like the Steam Deck, and I just bought a Legion, Lenovo Legion Go. It's a beast of a thing. It's kind of a gaming laptop, not laptop tablet thing, but it's gigantic with an 8.8-inch screen. But so it's not really a handheld at that point, is it? I don't consider it a handheld. That's why I said it. I consider it kind of like a weird laptop thing that's specifically for games. It's a tablet for games, but it's even much thicker than a normal Android tablet that you carry around usually. Uh, so it you can actually, and I have used it that way. You just use it in your hands like you use a Nintendo Switch. But still, I mean, the Nintendo Switch you can still get even an OLED. Just throw it in a bag and in a case, which is a which is already a problem with the Switch. So again, the Switch is also it's it's kind of too big, but it has to be. If these smaller hand, that's the point. These smaller handhelds, it's not nice. Screen is too little. It's too cramped. It's everything. There's too many compromises. But as I wanted to say, if you're just playing something that's more casual, where you only have a couple buttons and it's not as involved, you don't need as much precision in your controls and everything. It actually does work a lot better on a Nintendo 3DS. I played that game Yokai Watch uh, 2, the second one, the series, for many hours. I had a lot of fun. I never really talked about that game much on the channel, but it was one of the things that I played the most for a while. Um, it was very fun, and I think that Professor Layton and other games of the type, yeah, those can be played pretty well on a 3DS. But when you're getting into something more involved like this, it's just kind of terrible. And I actually will leave the conversation about hardware probably to the Lenovo Legion Go content that I'm going to be making next. But the yeah, I mean, there's both the hardware and the, how do you call that? The the software, uh, like you have an entire ecosystem. Ecosystem is what I was trying to find, right? I mean, I have all the games I want to play already. I don't need a new console or a new thing. I mean, even if I do need something, I already had the games. So if I could get something where I can already play all the games that I had, then that's what I would go for. Because even if I'm saving tons of money buying a Nintendo Switch that's much cheaper than these Windows gaming consoles, uh, that is, I mean, just the library that I already have on them. I can't buy all that crap on a Nintendo Switch, dude. That's ridiculous. It's hundreds of maybe thousands. If I would buy them new without, definitely it would be thousands. But I got them for probably only hundreds because again, it's tons of games that I got on, not just on sale, but on bundles and things, um, and even good games. Don't get me wrong. It's not that I just have. I have a lot of crap that I got in bundles, but I even have very good games that I bought on these big bundles, and then I played them, and they were very good and all like that. But it was really important. But again, I I really wanted the Windows stuff. I'll leave that for them. But that's the thing, and that's the again, you have the ecosystem. So a 3DS, it has 3DS games. A PC has all the games, And that's the cool thing, I think, also about the Switch, because the Switch has all the Nintendo games. That is definitely the reason why the Switch is so successful. One of the big reasons why it's so successful is because it it joined both the market for the handheld and for the game for the home console. So you have the entire install base there for both sides. Of course, it's gonna sell more, and then also people who want to play a mobile game like Pokemon on the console at home, they can do that. And people who want to play a game that's a home console game like Breath of the Wild, they can do that on the go if they want to. You can mix and match however you want. It's a brilliant idea that Nintendo had there. It's an obvious thing because other companies did that before. Uh, Again, the what is that? I mean, not in this way, but the PlayStation Portable had video out, right? And it's not hard to put video out on a on a device. It's just that at that, what Nintendo did, and again, today it's easier to do that than it was 20 years ago or 15 years ago. Because 15 years ago, if you released a console that was a portable and that was all it was, but you had video out, the quality of the graphics would be garbage compared to the other consoles, and that would make a difference because if your console is a PlayStation 1 and everybody else has something of the quality of a PlayStation 2, that's going to be a problem for you. And then nowadays, well, if your quality is PlayStation 3 and everybody else has a PlayStation 5, it's kind of like, well, whatever. If the games are good, uh, the quality of the PlayStation 3 is good enough, which is what the Switch has. And that's why this was the moment where this was really feasible without too much of uh, a concession in that sense. But again, I will leave that to the discussion in the hardware. It's just that, yeah, it kind of feels bad that I have all these handhelds and all these things. I didn't pay huge amounts of money for them, and I use them. I use the 3DS. I use the Vita. I use them. It's not that I just bought them to collect, but yeah, now I have them all still, and it's kind of like, well, I have this stuff, but I don't want to play in this. I can play again. I can play Mega Drive and Super Nintendo on a console that really replicates how it was back then, and that's not a problem. That's not an issue for me. But the handhelds, I would rather play something else. I'd rather, you know, because if I'm playing Monster Hunter Rise on my Lenovo Legion Go, and then I have to go from that into playing the Nintendo 3DS, no, thank you. That's not nice. That's really not that nice. Um, unless it's a very specific game. Okay, I'll leave it at that. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you around. Look at that, the PlayStation Vita. Just showing, and it's a much nicer screen. It's a much nicer console, in my opinion, as far as the hardware goes. Many will argue that it just doesn't have the software to back up that hardware, which that is easy to argue for as compared to the 3DS at least. Okay, see you around, and I expect to be making a video about the Legion Go this week, probably, maybe next week if things kind of get too busy over here. See you around.